What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Fumble Live. Happy Friday. Look, we've got so much to talk about today. Lamar Jackson is getting a lot of criticism for that concrete football that he played, and you guys see the title. Tom Brady is the injured GOAT, but still a GOAT. We're going to get into that. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And I am Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at JRayTheFanatic. Let's get into the Fumble Squad. Now, you guys are going to see kind of an unfamiliar face here, so I want to take a second and send out well wishes to Devin Howard. She is not feeling well right now, so you guys can follow her on Instagram. Go send lots of love her way. But I have my boy Nick Hamilton in the building. I'm excited about that. Nick, how you feeling?
What's good? It's Friday. It's one day a step closer to the weekend.
All right, tell everybody where they
Let's
can
get it.
follow you on social media as well.
You can follow me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA and on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213.
Okay, so I just want to get, I know you can't give us any teasers or no spoilers, but today is Space Jam Friday. I am so excited about that. You've actually seen the movie. Smile or don't smile? Which one is it? Which one is it?
I think whatever mood you in. If you're sober, you may not smile. If you're not sober, then you may be smiling and cheesing and skinning and grinning a whole lot. So it just depends on what mood you're in.
No, the Kingdom.
I'm just glad I saw it for free.
Oh, the shade, the shade. That's okay. I'm gonna see it, and I'm gonna tell y'all on Monday how fantastic that movie was. Don't listen to Nick. But let's dive right into our need to know news, because I am very curious to see how Nick feels about this first one, because we talked about this earlier in the week. Lamar Jackson was getting a lot of criticism about playing defensive back on that concrete. He's got a lot of shade from basically everybody on that one. I actually thought it was okay. The only thing that I didn't like was that he had that young man playing in slides. Slides are injury-prone shoes. I did not like that. But aside from that, I thought it was a good look. But he is deciding to kind of clap back at the shade a little bit, and he's not here with it at all. So let's post up this first one from him, what he said about this moment in time where people are giving him a lot of grief. He says, it's better to have them kids out there having fun than playing with guns and stuff. So next year, we running it back with even more fun. I like that. And then he even followed it up with another tweet that basically said, hey, I don't care what people say. You can show up next year. He said, so somebody said, was the camp in Florida? He responded back to that, yes, please pull up. Bring your nieces, nephews, uncle, whatever. Bring everybody out to that. I actually love him for saying this. I think that he's doubling down. He's absolutely right. He's always been here for the kids, right? That's always been who he is. And I love that people within the Ravens organization have his back. So Cassie Calvert, she is the social media organizer for the Ravens, and she responded as well. And I liked her response to Pro Football Talk. So if we could throw that tweet up from her. First of all, I didn't leave. Oh, this one's from Mark Ingram that says they always thirsty. Don't pay them no mind. But Cassie had a tweet that basically said, if this was anybody else, we would be praising him for being out in the community and being with these kids and lifting these kids up. And I think that is an excellent, excellent point. So, Nick, what do you think is the reason behind this? Do you think that people that criticize him for playing on concrete are right? Or do you think him being out there getting this outreach and really helping these kids is the right way to go?
I think both sides can be right. I think as far as the community, I applaud him for being out in the community, because we talk so much about athletes not spending time, not giving kids an opportunity to see other areas where they need to see. So I applaud Lamar Jackson. He's always been there, like you said. He's always been consistent. He's always willing to give advice to these kids, especially in the off season. Going back to his hometown, going back to where he's from, and then even in the communities of Baltimore, for what I've been told, that he's always been a part of those communities in Baltimore. So I applaud him for that. What I don't applaud him for is not using this, because, hello, you are the franchise quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. You guys are trying to emerge as far as being a Super Bowl contender and hopefully one day maybe even a Super Bowl champion. You cannot be out there on concrete sliding around playing DB, because guess what? If you twist your knee, if you bust your ankle, you're done for the year. That does not help him. It does not help the Ravens organization. So you have to be much smarter. Hell, it's plenty of grass out there in Florida. You can't find a grass field somewhere and then play?
Still get hurt on grass, though. You can still get hurt on a grass field. We've seen guys get hurt in their driveways. So it's not like anything he does it's not going to absolve him from the possibility of getting hurt. And he met them where they are. And I think that's okay.
It's okay to meet somebody where they are, but again, you have to put your career first, and you have to understand you have a higher probability of injuring yourself on because you're twisting and turning, especially playing DB. You're twisting, you're turning, you're moving around. Yeah, you can get hurt on grass too, no question about that. But I'm just saying the higher probability, and from the optical standpoint, it looks worse on concrete than it does grass, and that's all I'm saying. And I think that's why a lot of people, and maybe those people that shaded him were Ravens fans, because they're like having their fingers crossed, like, please don't get injured, please don't get hurt, because they're praying and hoping and giving offerings up and burnt offerings up to make sure that their team stays healthy enough to contend for a Super Bowl title. And so Lamar Jackson, in this particular case, as far as what it looked like, did not resonate with the fan base. But overall, as far as him being with the kids in the community, I have no problems with that. But Lamar, you got to play it smart, bro. You got to play it safe. You can't be out there playing DB. This is not Madden. This is not, you're not retired. This is not Drew Brees out there or somebody like that that's retired that can afford to do that. So he's got to do better with that. But other than that, he's cool.
So how do you feel about him basically clapping back and saying, not only did I do this then, I'm going to do it again next year. Bring your nieces and nephews, your aunties, your uncles, bring them all out.
I mean, that's all fine and good just to clap back, but I don't think the Ravens organization will be taking a look at that and saying, okay, Lamar, listen, we can't have you do that anymore. We'll find an area for you to be safe and participate and still, because they encourage him. I'm sure they encourage him to be out in the community, but they have to do it in an effective way that still protects them and their brand. And I'm sure he won't be back on concrete next year. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, well, maybe the Ravens will partner with him and do something in a setting that they feel like everyone is safe. You know, instead of criticizing the man for doing something that is actually very applaudable, it's very good that he did this, then partner with him and make it safer for everybody. Kevin Lang's in the chat, though. It's Friday, so I got time. He said that's like Sha'Carri smoking herb. Why? This is not the same. This is not the same.
Are you smoking herb, sir?
Oh, my goodness. And then I guess everybody else in the chat agrees, too. Jeremiah says the Ravens are not winning a Super Bowl, so he thinks that's funny. And he also said, Gary says that he's going to field. So I guess everybody, why y'all shading my boy Lamar? It's possible. But I agree, I guess, because I know and I wasn't even at the time a Tom Brady fan, but I do remember that time when Tom Brady went out with his family and he was on that cliff and he was about to cliff dive. I think he was live. He didn't even get off the cliff before every Patriot fan on the planet was like, if you don't get off that damn cliff. So, I get
exactly.
it. I get it. It is one of those things. All right, let's get into our next need to know news, because this one, I am very curious to see what you guys in the chat, and definitely you, Nick, what you think about this, because this is just one of these mysterious, I don't know if this was done correctly. It probably could have been done a different way, but UC Davis. So you guys know UC Davis is here in California. Their baseball season ended in May, but the whole baseball team, like I said, the baseball season ended in May. So this is just a little weird to me. Hopefully they can figure this out before February, when the season starts, because something has happened and the entire baseball team has been suspended. Not just the players, coaches, everybody has been suspended. So my first question was, okay, what happened? Why are you suspending the entire team? So this is the statement. This is according to the statement that was done by the University Office of Compliance and Policy. They are conducting an investigation into allegations which could take months. That's basically all I know. Let me read you their full statement. because it says the safety of the students is of utmost importance to UC Davis. The university has learned of allegations of misconduct involving the varsity baseball team. The UC Davis Office of Compliance and Policy is investigating these allegations, and the entire baseball program has been placed on suspension pending the outcome of this review. In addition, the baseball coaching staff has been placed on administrative leave. The review is expected to last for a couple of months of the fall quarter. At this time, it is too early to know definitively when team activities, including practice, may start. There will be updates and more information available. And then they ended it with, we are committed to conducting a thorough assessment to determine the best path forward to provide a safe and inclusive experience for everyone involved with the team. So the letter also says that players can't use the baseball field, team room, batting cages, nothing. And that started today. But what it doesn't say is why. There is that one little line that says safe and inclusive. So it makes me feel like maybe, I know this UC Davis also suspended I believe it was the marching band for hazing. But in that case, we knew exactly what's going on. So my question for you, Nick, is, and you guys in the chat, why do this big to-do about we're cracking down and then just say we're cracking down on something? You don't tell us what it is? Couldn't you wait to suspend specific people? What's happening right now?
Yeah, I find that very, very odd. I mean, I even tried to make a phone call to the PR relations department at UC Davis just to try to see if I could try to get some more information before we jumped on here. And of course, they would not give me any more information. And I tried. So, hey, all you can do is swing for the fences. But it's very interesting. This reminds me of an episode of All American on the CW, that episode that happened a few weeks ago when they were trying to make that transition to All-American Homecoming. And it was about a baseball team at a college that had some academic ineligibility. They were doing some scandals, making up classes. So I don't know what is going on at UC Davis. Did they take the story from UC Davis? I have no idea, because it can be academic ineligibility. It could be people faking classes, like these students are taking classes and they're really not. Like, I don't know what is going on with UC Davis. It could be a plethora of things going on with that baseball program, but I know they don't want to get hit with the NCAA rule sanctions and get a modern day death penalty like we saw with USC. So they're probably trying to take care of their own business in-house first and foremost, which is smart of them. But I'm sure as the months progress, more and more information will leak out or get out, depending on what it is. But it's very suspect. But then I saw something that said, oh, we're going to offer student counseling and student health. What the hell is that going to do? I mean, unless you're going to help these young men transfer to another university so they can continue their eligibility with baseball, because now they're stuck for 3 years. They have 3 years of eligibility before some of them may transfer to the MLB draft or whatever other endeavors that they may encounter upon. So unless you're going to help them transfer, and the NCAA is going to be a part of that to say, hey, they don't have to sit out for a year. They can go directly to whatever college they're eligible for. Unless you're going to do that, that student health stuff is nonsense to me.
Yeah, so I have a friend. So I implored my telephone tree, and I called some people, and a friend of mine was like, you know what? I have a friend who her nephew is on the baseball team at UC Davis. I'm a caller. And I was like, okay. So she called her, she called him, and then he told her, we have been instructed that we cannot speak about this. And if we do, there could be further consequences. What?
Ooh, scandal brewing.
I just don't. So here's my thing. When I read this, you guys know I talk about this all the time on the show. This is probably why this is so fascinating to me, because I watch so much crime TV. And so when I see something like this that looks a little weird, I'm like, oh, let me try to figure it out. I literally was probably up way later than I should have been, trying to call people who knew people who know something about it. Y'all that know that song. But nobody would say anything. And that was the most that I got, was from that student who is on the baseball team, who I'm not going to name, but says, hey, we can't talk about it. But again, my thing is this. These kids are like in limbo right now. And there's no way that I believe the entire baseball team was involved in whatever this scandal is. There's just no way. So why not do the investigation first and then suspend the appropriate people? I think people are being punished for something that they're not involved in. And I don't think that that's fair to the kids. And I'm all about the kids. I don't think that's fair to the kids. Hopefully they can get this figured out. Nick, I know you're really into baseball. So does this mess up their season? I know their season starts in February. Does this mess them up in any way if they can't practice and train right now?
Yes, potentially, because if you're preparing for a season in February, depending on how long the investigation is going to be conducted, and then you have to also what coaches are going to stay, which coaches are going to leave. It's a mess. I mean, when you look at the overall totality of this, it's an absolute mess. You have who's going to transfer, what students are going, what student athletes, quote unquote, are going to stay. Especially if you have a couple of stars or potential MLB scouts that may be looking at a couple of players on that team. Now their eligibility and their futures are in question because now nobody wants to be a part of a scandal. Nobody wants to say, oh, well, even if you weren't the one that was guilty, you're guilty by association. So now you put all their futures in jeopardy. So to me, I think, like I said, I think they're acting in fear because, again, they don't want the NCAA to drop that hammer down on them with sanctions and fines and everything else. We've seen what they've done with that. So I think they're trying to police themselves. But unfortunately, you got to clean house. And if you have to clean house, sometimes, there are a few people that get swept up in the mix. And this seems to be the situation. So it obviously is some type of a big scandal, according to them, because I don't think they would have suspended the entire team, coaches, staff members. You can't use the cages like you were. This is like a 1994, MLB lockout. Like we locking the doors. You can't get in.
Yep. All right. I see you guys in the chat talking about Dame Dollar. Stop putting that energy out there. I've already said he's coming to the Lakers with Carmelo. Y'all need to channel your inner basketball gods thing. Look, I don't care. Put it out. Y'all supposed to be on Team Jackie here. Put that out in the universe. Stop putting them elsewhere. He's supposed to come to the Lakers. Oh, no negativity. We're not doing that on this Friday. No. La la. We got la. I'm going to talk about something else really quick before we get into the post up because we know Game 5 is tomorrow. So you guys in the chat, I want to see what your predictions are. But Nick, do you have any predictions? Now, my big question though is because I forget who mentioned this in the chat yesterday, but they brought up an excellent point. Neither team has been able to win on the road. They've only been able to win at home. What do the Bucks need to do so they can pull out this win in Phoenix?
Show up, number one. Number two, make sure that anybody other not named Giannis is going to also consistently show. We saw what Chris Middleton did in last game, dropped 40. He's got to be definitely more consistent. I want to see more consistent play out of Drew Holiday. I want to see, and also too, a defensive presence. They've got to continue that defensive presence that they've been able to acquire after game 2, especially in this series. So that's going to be a determining factor. But at the same time, you're going to have situations, especially being at home, being in Phoenix, being in a very hostile environment in the Valley of the Sun. Chris Paul is not going to have a bad game like he had in game 4. That's for certain. He's rarely had back-to-back bad games. That was probably the worst game I've seen him in this playoff series, in this playoff run, period, in game 4. So I think the Suns are going to come out red hot. They're going to come out aggressive. They're going to come out more determined and more disciplined. And so Milwaukee's going to have to somehow counter that and have their style of pace with basketball. But the Suns are going to control the tempo. They're going to try to control the pace. And when they like to run like that and control the pace, it usually ends up with a W. So we'll see.
Yeah, I said that as well. I said that the Bucks need to make sure they don't fall into the Suns' trap and they don't play at their pace. They play their own game. I don't like that. But Doug, I agree with you. He says Drew and Chris need to be ball on the road. Absolutely correct. I've said for time and time again that I think Chris Middleton is the cornerstone of that franchise, so they're going to have to step up. Chris Paul did go, though, and I was surprised by this because Phoenix Suns fans just drug him for how he turned over the ball. Can we stop doing that as fans? Can we stop dragging our players when they have one bad game? Can we stop doing that? Is that a no face?
Right now?
Yes, it was one bad game. He's the man human.
Listen. You haven't seen the NBA Finals since 1993. If you are a Suns fan and you're screwing up this bad and ruining opportunities for you to get a chip, yes, you deserve all the criticism. You messed up. This was the worst game of the series for Chris Paul. And as I said earlier, this was probably the worst game I've seen him play, minus the shoulder injury back in the first round against the Lakers. This is probably the worst I've seen him. So, yes, I don't blame Suns fans for that. You deserve every bit of that criticism. Step your game up, CP3.
All right. Well, he said he would. But I would just like to say, Chris, I know you human. I don't think it was worth the dragging. And I think it was Jeremiah or JD. One of y'all said that Chris Paul is not a top 5 point guard. Stop it right now. We are not entertaining that nonsense today. But let me know in the chat who you think is going to win. Do you have a solid prediction on this one, Nick? As far as who you think is going to win?
Hopefully it won't be boring. That's my
That's
only
your
prediction.
only?
Because this series has been boring as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, okay, Zen Master's with me. And, you know, Zen Master and I never agree, but he says CP3 is entitled to a bad game. It is one bad game. Leave that man alone. I agree with you, Zen Master. All right, it's time for the post-up. This is going to be fun. All right, let's get into this because this one is a good topic off top that I think deserves a conversation. If you guys remember, Tom Brady, he's a long-time announcer for the Red Sox, and he used that he didn't follow the rule that I've always told you is journalism 101. Your mic is always hot. And he used a very homophobic word when he didn't realize his mic was on. And then he came back. It was the F word, not the good F word that can be versatile and has 4 letters, the 3-letter F word, to demean people. And I don't like that. So if you remember that, he issued an apology. We got in this huge debate on this show about this because I thought his apology was fine. People did not like his apology because he continued to do his job in the midst of his apology. So I want to just really quickly, so we can bring everyone back up to speed, show you his apology from, this is a few months ago, but take a look at this so we're all up to speed on his apology.
Over on the mound, I made a comment earlier tonight that I guess went out over the air that I am deeply ashamed of. If I have hurt anyone out there, I can't tell you how much I say from the bottom of my heart. I'm so very, very sorry. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again. I don't know if it's going to be for the Reds. I don't know if it's going to be for my bosses at Fox. I'm going to apologize for the people who signed my paycheck, for the Reds, for Fox Sports Ohio, for the people I work with, for anybody that I've offended here tonight.
I was fine with that apology. I know people drug him because he called the play in the midst of it, but like he said, he didn't know if he's going to put the headset back on, and he didn't. He had to retire from play-by-play. He hasn't done play-by-play since. So now the reason why I wanted you guys to know that is because now we need to fast forward to this Stephen A situation. So Tom's dad heard Stephen A's apology. We know what Stephen A did with the how he offended the Asian population and, of course, the Nigerian. He ain't never apologized to black folks, but that's a whole nother story. But Stephen A went ahead and he did his little apology. And then Tom's dad tweeted him and said, you know what? That was a great apology. I wish people received my son's apology the way they received yours. So let me let you take a look at his dad's words to Stephen A. He said, great apologies, young man. I only wish my son's employers had been as forgiving as yours. Your words and sincerity were heartfelt. Keep up your good work. So I found that to be, okay, that was cool. People really had a problem with this whole exchange with him saying this. A lot of people were like, no, your son used a bigoted word, basically. That's totally different than what Stephen A said. But let me show you some of these tweets from the response from people online. So let's throw up that next tweet. Said, now this one's interesting. He said, if your son was Stephen A and worked for woke ABC/ESPN, he wouldn't have been fired. And by the way, I don't think Stephen A. Smith had anything to apologize for, simply observing the difficulty of marketing a non-English player. Okay, so I see your eyebrows went up on that one. What are your thoughts on that one?
First of all, that person who tweeted that out is not woke at all. Number one, I don't know if that was sarcasm or what, but that was the most idiotic tweet I've seen in a long time. Number one, Stephen A had a lot to apologize for because he offended people on national television. He knew exactly what he was saying. He didn't care at the time. The only time he cared is when people, he suffered so much backlash from people on social media and in the regular media, circles, that the fact that he had to go back hours later and apologize, and then had to apologize again because he negated the Nigerian community and the Nigerian basketball team, and he got drugged for that, which he should have been drugged for that. And then he had to go back and apologize for that. So to me, it's like if you do something wrong, if I step on your foot and I know I stepped on your foot, or you tell me I stepped on your foot, then the first thing I need to do is be like, instead of me being defensive and saying, well, your foot was in the way, I should immediately apologize to you and say, hey, I'm sorry for stepping on your foot, and any any harm or hurt that I caused your foot, I apologize for that. Something to that degree, and then move on. But Stephen A. and he didn't do that.
Yeah, let me get to this next tweet as well, because I want to see if what your thought is on this one, because this is the difference for me. The difference is Screaming A. Smith. I love that. I'm stealing that. Said it on camera trying to make a point. Tom said it thinking his mic was off, making a joke, only it wasn't funny. So this is the difference for me. Stephen A. really did say it thinking that people were going to co-sign with him. He thought he was being funny. Tom said it in private. And to me, because he thought he was in private, those are his true feelings. And if you guys, I saw Kevin Lang in the chat. He said, what did he say? He said, I forget what the context was, but he said it was the F word capital of the world. Basically, in a disparaging way. There's a huge difference between saying something disparaging in private that kind of lets us know your true feelings and you just telling a joke in public that doesn't land. I think it's a totally different, I think these two situations are not comparable, but I do appreciate Tom's dad saying, hey, my son did apologize, and I wish that his apology was accepted the same way your apology was accepted. Do you think that that is at least fair for dad to say? You don't agree with that?
I think Dad's trying to ride on the coattails of Stephen A. I mean, I think he's trying to petition his son to get a job. And I think this was the perfect time for him to ride on the coattails of Stephen A. to try to get a job, to bring some awareness to his son, so his son can get some more airtime as far as what transpires, so his son can get another job. Because maybe he's tired of giving his son money every week to do things. I don't know. But the thing about it is, I think the timing of it is not good. I think you should have separated what your son did versus what Stephen A. did. And I'm not saying that either one was worse than the other. I think they're all wrong. But I also think that, listen, your son ain't making $12 or $13 million a year. He ain't making half of what Stephen A. money. And I'm not out here pocket watch, but he ain't making half of what Stephen A. is making. So he's expendable. Stephen A. ain't so expendable unless he made some racist, rhetoric as far as saying certain, names and certain words that we all know we're not supposed to be saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go on to this next one. Because this next one is super funny, and I love this moment in time. This one is going to be for Jeremiah Smith. I know he always likes when we talk about the Warriors. So let's get into this next one, because Andre Iguodala is recalling a time when Steph Curry did some trash talk. I think it's funny when we say anything about Steph Curry and trash talk, because it just doesn't. It's like oh, well, Steph. It never lands for me. But Iggy is saying that during the first round of the 2013 playoffs, that Iggy was with Denver at the time, and he's on this he was on JJ Reddit's podcast, The Old Man and the Three, and he said he had this moment about Steph Curry, which I think is hilarious. So now let me put this in context for you, because I want to show you this moment in time that he's talking about. I want you to watch Steph. Steph is in the corner. Watch as soon as Steph releases the ball and where he looks. So then when we come back, I'm going to tell you what he looked at the Denver sideline. So take a look at this really quick.
Jack gives it to Landry. Curry. Up fake, slides by. Bucket in front of the...
Okay, did you see that? My bad, y'all. Did you see where Steph was? You saw where he released the ball. So now, Iggy, let me show you this next tweet. Because I want you to see what Iggy is saying about the whole thing, which I think is fantastic. So if we could throw up the next tweet, because the Warriors Talk obviously posted this back up, and it says Iggy on playing against Steph in Denver. Steph shoots 3 in front of the Nuggets bench as the team screams at him. And then Iggy says he lets the ball go and turns around and tells him to shut up. The ball is in midair, not even close. The whole team was like, yo, and they just were quiet, and they've never seen anything like that before. That's cute. We've seen so many ball players play this kind of thing. We've seen LeBron do it and turn around and say, oh, it went in, but it was more of it to his own teammates. Does Steph get like maybe he's not as, I don't want to call him soft because I call him, but you know what I'm saying. Does he get a hash mark in the, okay, Steph, you about that life because he talked trash in this moment in time?
Man, Steph has always talked trash. Steph is like the Larry Bird of the modern day era as far as when it comes to trash talking, because that's not the first time Steph has talked trash. He's just the first time that somebody's witnessed it. And then there's been other accounts where he's talked trash to other teams because teams talk trash to him. So what is he supposed to do? So I have no problems with this. I am all for Steph talking trash. I wish he talked more because he can absolutely back it up, as we saw in that clip, in many other clips in years up until right now. He's talked trash and he's backed it up, even in practices, in games, post game. Showing out for the fans. I mean, this is what we want. This is what we desire. This is the kind of Steph that we want to see more of. But Steph is very smart and knows how to hide it and knows how to code it enough where it doesn't always get out like that. So that's why I said this is like the Larry Bird trash talking school student.
Okay, well, Jeremiah, are you happy? You see all the accolades that Nick is giving your boy. Yay, happy Friday. All right, let's go on to this next one because this is the one that the title is about. And I love this moment in time. You guys know that I am a fan of Tampa Tom. I know y'all don't like it, but I love Tampa Tom. And I'm going to call him Tom Terrific in this moment in time because Rick Stroud posted this to his Twitter. I want you guys to take a look at this because this just shows you how dope Tom Brady is. So if we could get that first tweet up there, this is fantastic to me. Oh, no, that's not. Is that the first tweet? So the first tweet is from Rick Stroud, and he says that Tom Brady played all of last season with a torn ACL that he sustained in New England. So this is the one. So Tom Brady led Bucs to Super Bowl 55 despite an MCL tear. Can we get a standing ovation for Tom Brady right now in this moment? I don't care. I'll do it by myself. Go ahead, Tom Brady. This is amazing to me. First of all, you're old. And let's just be honest. Playing with any kind of injury is tough, but playing with this kind of injury at 43, if y'all don't go in this damn chat and call Tom Brady the GOAT right now, I'm going to be so mad at y'all because this is amazing. Kevin Lang, not you. I know how you feel about it. I'm not going to come for you. Everybody else, call Tom Brady a GOAT in the chat. I want to see it. Nick, what do you think about this?
No, I think it's remarkable. You talking about Mamba mentality? Tom Brady exudes that to the fullest. Probably just as much as the late, great Kobe Bryant did. I mean, when you talk about a guy that wants it as bad as he wants to breathe, this is the dude that spends, $2 to $3 million in the offseason just to get him ready and right for the football season. This is a man that's so disciplined. He schedules time with his kids. Okay, you got 2 to 3 hours. That's all I'm giving you. Giselle, this is your time now. I got to focus on getting these chips because I'm not going to be out here that much longer. And so when he is the first, I mean, think about it. He made history. He's the first team to host a Super Bowl, to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that is something that's remarkable in itself. The fact that he was able to galvanize the troops and really be able to put guys in positions to win and then bring guys along that like Gronk and other guys that he was familiar with, to bring them along and be able to mesh along with Bruce Arians. I mean, that's remarkable in itself. So Tom Brady maybe has another year or two left on the football field. And I think he knows it, but let's give that man his flowers. Stop hating on that man. He's probably one of the best athletes, period. Like not just in football, but period. Tom Brady's that dude.
Like, if y'all want, yes, he's old, so maybe he's the Billy Goat, but he's still a goat nonetheless. Ain't goats Billy Goats when they get old? Ain't that? I don't know how that works, but it sounds right to me. So that's what we go.
Why you shading Brady? Now you out here giving shade to Brady.
No, ain't that what a goat is called when it's old? Ain't it a Billy Goat?
He's a goat, period. Stop trying to add more to it, man. You're shading him.
I'm not shading Tom Brady. I am team Tampa Tom. I love Tampa Tom. He's my guy, but I tell you what, though, Twitter is shading him. So let me throw up this next tweet. I think you guys kind of saw it briefly a second ago. Let me throw up this tweet because y'all don't even want to give the man his flowers. Like Nick said, he says, wow, that's how easy he had it. Situation was so cushy. He didn't even need ligaments to get carried. How, Sway? How you?
What the hell
How?
are you talking about?
Wait, it gets better. It gets better. Let me throw up this next tweet. I love your face. Look, Aaron Rodgers' burner account, which I'm wondering if this is really Aaron Rodgers' burner account for real. Because he says, am I supposed to be impressed? And then the one on the bottom says, Brady has done Rodgers' greatest achievement while on a torn ACL. Facts. Oh, I love this.
This proves why everybody does not need a social media account. This totally proves it. Because you talk stupid. You have no damn sense. You act like your parents are brother and sister when you tweet some of these these ridiculous comments. I'm sorry.
That is hilarious. Okay, so I'm glad our spirits are high. We've got some good laughter because this next one is heavy. I'm gonna have to bring us down just a little bit because I am not entirely sure what is going on with Richard Sherman. Stay tuned after the show. There's a stand-up that I'm doing that's going to give you more details. So make sure you check that out. But apparently he drank a whole bottle of vodka, a whole bottle of Hennessy. His wife says he's on antidepressants and he's going through mental counseling. But then things just kind of went awry between him and his father-in-law. I want you guys to listen to this 911 call from his wife. Take a listen.
It's the information I need to get officers expedited.
I need officers here now.
What's he doing that you think he's going to harm himself?
He's being aggressive. He has sent text messages. I took the keys out. They're in your car. He's trying to leave now in the house. He's being aggressive. He's wrestling with my uncle. He's threatening to kill himself. He has sent text messages to people saying he's going to hang himself. He's saying that if the police show up, so please don't shoot is what I'm asking.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
He has no weapon.
He says if the police show up,
he said if the police show up, that he'll try to fight them. So they need to understand that he is.
Okay.
First of all, that 911 operator needs to be fired immediately. If you guys get a chance, go listen to that 911 call. This woman did not care about anything that was going on. I don't know if it was the end of her shift or what, but she the whole time was like, okay, whatever. She was very distraught. But you add that to this video, and then now you see a totally different situation playing out. So take a look at Richard Sherman from their little, I think it's a Ring camera. Take a look.
Come through, bitch. Come through. Come through. Come through. Come through. Come through, right?
That's a lot. That is a lot. So thankfully he's okay today. Everything, he was released from, he was arrested, but he's fine. There's a lot in this video to unpack. Nick, what are your first thoughts?
I'm extremely disturbed. Anytime hearing the call is one thing, and I agree with you. I think that 911 operator needs to be fired, needs to have some type of criminal charges if they're available. Because if something happened to that woman, I believe her name is Ashley Sherman. Mm-hmm. Thank God nothing did happen to her, but if something did, that would have been on that woman's, that blood would have been on that woman's hands. Number two, mental health is nothing to joke about. I've said that time and time again. But when you see videos like Richard Sherman, because I've actually met Richard Sherman on a few occasions, really good dude. You talk about a guy that believes in the community, not just in Seattle where he played many years, but in the community of Compton, where he's from, out here in California. And he has a heart for the community. But you don't know what these guys go through. You don't know all the injuries that they suffer, the painkillers that they're prescribed. This is why a lot of athletes were saying, look, we want medical marijuana because it's not addictive. It's not to a point where it's damaging. When you give these painkillers out, when you're giving these various medications out, that's damaging not only on the body, but on the brain. And so we always talk about CTE, and we always want to sweep that under the rug, especially when it comes to not just players, but also Black players, specifically. We want to, put that under the rug. But when you see accounts like Richard Sherman banging against the door, and I'm sure if he saw that, he's probably embarrassed. He's probably, ashamed of what he's brought on himself and his family. But let me tell you something. When a man is on antidepressants and then you taking the holy water, which is vodka, and some hen doggy dog, and you mixing that together, people that are in their quote unquote right minds, they don't act right when you mix those two. For somebody to be not in their right mind and on antidepressants, it's going to take it to a whole nother level. So to me, I think that this needs to be treated with a level of sensitivity, a level of empathy, and a level of understanding, because mental health is real. This is another indication of why the NFL needs to continue not only the research, but paying their retired players that are dealing with CTE. We saw what happened with Junior Seau. This is exactly what brought me back when I heard Richard Sherman was talking about his wife was saying that he wants to kill himself or hang himself. That brought me back to Junior Seau and what happened with Junior Seau. So thank God Richard Sherman didn't follow through on what he did. But this is also a league issue. And I think the league needs to step in and say, okay, look, what help can we offer Richard Sherman and others like Richard Sherman that we don't see, and be able to say, okay, let's get movements and progress in those areas. Hopefully Richard Sherman will not suffer any consequences from the league as a result of this. If anything, maybe he needs to take a season off to get himself together and to get himself right. That's fine, but he does not need to be suspended. He doesn't need to be on the commissioner's list, and right. You know, he needs to get himself together. I don't think he needs to play this season because, as we see, he has some issues that he needs to resolve, and his family needs that privacy. And I've seen some really disparaging tweets about people making jokes and talking about his, no, this is what happens when you marry into the wrong family. That has nothing to do with anything. You people are idiots. And to me, like
the thing about that video that really kind of resonated with me is how, even in his rage, how composed he is. I've seen a lot of people in the chat say he's very intelligent. He's an extremely intelligent man. And in his rage, he's very composed. So I'm sure that's even more terrifying. So I agree with you 100%. I think not only does the league have to hold more responsibility for the damages that we know that are well documented that these athletes receive, we as fans do too, because as long as we just kind of say, oh, they know what they're getting into, that's on us. We're just kind of allowing this to continue. JD, I 100% agree with you. JD in the chat said, Richard Sherman is a good person. Let's not let this one mistake ruin all of the good things he has done for the community, for Seattle and other cities in the world as well. I 100% agree with that. And I'm definitely pulling for Richard. I don't know what led up to this situation, but I'm definitely hoping that he gets the help that he needs. If you want more details on that, like I said, after the show, check out the stand-up on that because it is coming out shortly. But now let's talk about something that is hilarious. I know I took you guys all the way down. I'm gonna lift you all the way back up because we've seen this before. Normally it's in football though, where it's like, okay, that man is a 30-year-old person. He is not 10 years old. So, but this one is hilarious to me. This young lady was born into a basketball family. So she's a Chinese basketball player. Her mom was a Chinese basketball player. And now Zhang Ziyu, if I said your name wrong, I definitely apologize, but I believe it's Zhang Ziyu. She is following in her mother's footsteps at only 14. In this game that I'm going to show you, at 14, she scored 42 points. She had 25 rebounds and 6 blocks to help her team win the China national. But I think she should have probably had 82 points. You're going to know why I'm saying that as soon as you see this video. Take a look. She is 14 and 7'1".
I want to see the birth certificate. I want to see the birth certificate. That young lady is not 14. I'm sorry. That is absolutely amazing. Can we give props to the young lady at number 8 that tried to go up for the jump ball? Like, can we just give her props for making the attempt? Like, just not giving up. But listen, if I'm Don Staley, If I'm Don Staley, if I'm Gino, if I'm any basketball program in the United States, I'm on the phone right now trying to recruit. If I'm the WNBA, I'm watching this lady. I'm watching this young lady until she turns 18. I'm watching this young lady because even though she out here in these basketball streets cherry picking and whatnot, she is still 7 feet and she has more growing to do.
Right. She's only 14. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my God. I did see somebody with this in the tweets that said they were more concerned about her heart, while everyone was like, dang, she should be, same thoughts you had. She should be in the WNBA right now. He was like, okay, she's 14. She's not done growing. If she has that giant syndrome, her heart could be distressed. He's hoping that everyone's taking care of her physically. I didn't think of that. I was just kind of laughing at the fact, because, you know, the rim is a little bit lower when you're that little. You see all them little people? So all she had to do was go blah, 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 blah. Like, it.
She out there cherry picking. That's what I'm saying. She had no effort.
It would have been one of those weird things. I'd have been like, okay, we don't have to tackle her. Hit her in the ankles. Kick her in the ankles. Like, we have to get physical at this point. We cannot stop her. Right. But shouts out to that young lady. I can't wait to see what she does. I saw Kevin Lang said she is the taco fall of women's basketball. That is correct. That one made me giggle a little bit. So let's move on to this next one, because this next one too, this is why I wanted to ask, what do you think is going to happen? Nick, you made a great point. Suns fans are a little anxious right now because this is a big deal. This is a big time for them. So if you have a Suns fan in your family that is like this, I need you to make sure that you check on him, because this is a lot, especially if they're a little older. You don't want the heart to be distressed, but take a look at this.
Come on, Chris, do something!
Get down there.
Do something!
Pass it off to Booker if you can't do it.
Ah! Ah!
This is only funny because that's exactly who I am. I'm like, damn, my poor neighbors, they have got to be so excited that I don't have a dog in this race. Because I'm like, finally, it's quiet down there. But this is me, just,
Man, y'all fans are a trip.
Nick is not he's a sports fan. He doesn't have an actual dog in any race, but this is hilarious to me. He's like, and then what happened? And then what happened?
I started doing media and I started seeing what goes on behind the scenes. And it was like, okay, this what really happens? Okay, well, whatever. I just enjoy the sport for what it is. I like players, you know, like I want CP3 to get a ring, just like everybody else. But my man was not a CP3 fan. You saw what he was wearing.
I did. And you saw who he was yelling.
Okay.
You saw who he was like, Chris, do better. I'm like, damn, is that what we're doing? Chris, do better? That's what we doing now? Oh, I love that. Y'all check on your Phoenix Suns fans, especially if they lose at home. They gonna need some love and attention. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. But let's go on to this next one, because this next one, I have been very vocal with the fact that I do not think that Dana White is a good person. I stand by that. He is not a good person. But this is a good moment in time. This is an amazing story. Nelly Gonzalez, she is a 66-year-old UFC fan. Her biggest fandom is going towards Khabib, and she wanted to meet him. So let me show you what she did in 105-degree weather to try to meet her favorite UFC fighter. Take a look.
I love him very much and that I want to meet him in person.
Okay, I'm gonna
See if I can get
tell
a
him.
ticket to come and see you fight on Saturday.
I'm Dana. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Where are you from?
Lancaster, California.
Are you really?
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Colombia, Bogota.
Okay. All right. You're a big Khabib fan, huh?
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get you to meet him. Okay. I'll get you a meeting with Khabib.
So I love this for a couple reasons. Number one, because this is her birthday wish to herself. I try to do something every year special for myself on my birthday, but what I'm not going to do, even for LeBron, I'm not going to stand outside for hours in 105-degree weather. No, I'm not. First of all, because if I do that, my hair is going to be cute and I'm not sweating out my hair. I'm vain like that. I'm not standing outside in 105-degree weather. No, I'm not. I might stand outside in the cold. I might stand out in freezing weather, but I'm not sweating out my look. No, I'm not. This woman stood outside for hours in 105-degree weather before somebody random saw her. Then they got word to Dana White, and then Dana White was like, okay, I'm going to make sure you can meet Khabib. I didn't think he was going to actually follow through on this, but he did. Take a look at this. This next picture. She gets to hang out with Khabib. She said, please stop for a photo. He did. Dana White made sure he got his credit for it, though. He wasn't just going to let these two hang out. He's like, you guys got to get me on the phone so I can tweet out this picture that I hooked y'all up. So let me show you this picture. Dana White's up there like, yeah, I just make sure I got to get my credit. I love this moment in time. This is cool. This is one cool point I'm giving for Dana White. He definitely deserves this one cool point. Nick, what did you think of this? Is this not adorable?
I mean, props to Dana White for making that connection, and even because he didn't have to do that, so he did that anyway. Right. So props to him. But that woman could have caught heat stroke. You stand out there in 105-degree heat trying to get this man's attention. Props to her diligence for doing that.
It's worth it to fulfill your own birthday wish. Don't count on other people to give you your birthday wish. Go get your own birthday wish. I love this.
This is why I say to you about LeBron, we don't believe you. You need more people because you know damn well you be out there in 105-degree heat or 55-degree weather. It don't matter. You be doing that. Stop it. Hair sweating all looking like taco meat, the whole shebang. So no, I don't want to hear about you not standing out there. If
I'm going to stand outside in 105-degree weather, I'm going to have to get me a lace front. I'm not about to do it in my natural hair. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just keeping 100. I'm not finna do that. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
But you're right. There's a strong possibility that I would. So whatever. All right. That's all I got for the post up. It's a 98.9% chance that I would do that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. All right. That's all I got for the post up. Let's get into what we not going to do, because this one I got to tell you that I absolutely hate this. I know the NFL did something similar last season. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now, especially now that they're committing to doing it in like bigger areas. So up until last month, and I still think it's not completely settled, but up until last month, the NFL was using something called race norming with regards to how they're paying out this huge, over $1 billion CTE settlement for former NFL players. I told you about this. This was a what we not going to do. Race norming says that when Black men are born, their mental stability, mental cognition and all that is less than white men. So that meant that when they took these tests to see where your mental cognition is, Black men had to test way below the norm to even get money, which meant Black men were not getting money. So the NFL barely made a statement on that, except for to say, you know what, we're going to revisit this and see what we can do. They haven't really completely done away with that, but they've literally have something called race norming that allows them to not pay Black men that are suffering from CTE after they leave the NFL. So I don't really want to hear anything about the NFL, what they're doing for Black people, until they correct that. We still know what they did to Colin Kaepernick. We also know that Eric Reed still doesn't have a job and he was harassed when he was employed. The whole thing is just, there's so much I can tell you about the NFL. If you go to the NFL right now, if you go to the NFL, it's not the NFL.com, but I think it's the NFL officials or something like that. And you go to that page, you'll see that the NFL has a whole tab dedicated to HBCU, which gives you all this amazing history about HBCUs. It tells you about former NFL players that are from the HBCU. But what it doesn't do is actually support the HBCU. What they do is they create a program for HBCU students who want to get into administrative or perhaps management jobs within the NFL. It doesn't actually help the field, the athletic programs. It doesn't donate money to those systems. The NFL is so freaking fake right now that I can't even really wrap my head around this. And this next one I absolutely hate, because they have decided to play what is basically called, what we call the national anthem, the Black national anthem, which is Lift Every Voice and Sing. So they've decided that they're going to play that. Their exact statement says, the NFL is continuing its 10-year, $250 million pledge to fight racism by playing the song. How does this help fight racism? Okay, by playing the song before certain tentpole games, including the NFL playoffs, NFL draft on September 9th, NFL kickoff game. Additionally, the league will promote social justice through signage, player helmet decals, and PSA's front office sports reports. So Let me tell you what this means. This is the equivalent of saying, hey, the United States government is going to make Juneteenth a national holiday. So what? There's tons of things that we have tried to address, including Richard Sherman's wife on that phone call having to say, hey, my husband is in distress. Please don't shoot him. When you call the police as a Black person, you have to beg them not to shoot the person you're calling about, especially if they're, which I still struggle with the fact that she made that call. I'm just personally not going to call somebody that I got to beg you not to shoot them. That's just me. But the fact that she had to even say that, we haven't addressed that. We haven't addressed wage gaps. We haven't addressed food deserts. Everybody wants to say, oh, people in the Black community are suffering more medically, because there's no other reason than the fact that we are in these medical deserts, these educational deserts. We haven't addressed any of that. Giving us a Juneteenth holiday that we was going to celebrate with or without y'all does not address those things. Saying, hey, let's play this national anthem kind of makes it worse, because this is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen right now. I don't stand for the national anthem. I don't care how y'all feel about it. I'm not doing it. So I'm in a stadium, right? I don't stand for the national anthem, but then they play Lift Every Voice and Sing, and I stand for that. Now I got Team MAGA somewhere in the stands going to cause some sort of, now there's a video of me and a Karen going at it. This is going to cause division. And how does it help? I'm trying to understand how it helps, because it doesn't. What would help is if you just do what you used to do and just not play the national anthem at all. That would probably help, because then we don't have to have conversations about this. But you playing a song that's going to mean something to us, regardless of what it means to you, without addressing this lawsuit that the NFL literally has just kind of said, we'll get to it, that would help Black men who are suffering because they played football for you right now, without you saying, hey, let's actually contribute money to HBCU athletic programs, since the majority of the league is Black anyway. Let's actually show that we are committed to helping young Black athletes. Instead of doing that, y'all gonna play a song. I'm so disgusted with the NFL right now. This is why I struggle with even watching it. There's a side of me that wants to watch it, because I really do feel like NFL players are the last of our gladiators. They literally, and we know that from the way they suffer after the NFL, they literally put their heart, minds, bodies, and souls on the line to entertain us. And I feel like that needs to be applauded. We need to appreciate them. Like Nick said, we need to give these players, including Tom Brady, their flowers while they're alive. There's that side of me. But then there's this side of me that says the NFL is one of the most hypocritical organizations I've ever seen in my life. I do not like this at all. I cannot stand this. Nick, what are your thoughts on them playing the Black national anthem before games as they continue to move for racial equality?
Well, I think first and foremost, I don't think they should play, because a lot of people don't know the words to the song. They don't understand what the song represents. So on both sides, there's quite a few Black people that don't know the words to this song. So I think it's just awkward for everybody to be standing around and looking around like, do you know the words? Do you know the words? Do you know what they're saying? I mean, it's just awkward. Even for people that want to know, that may not, that are Black or Caucasian or any other race, that may want to know the words just so they can understand it. If nobody next to them can explain it to them, they're not going to grasp the truth and the meaning behind it. So I think, to me, I understand what they are attempting to do, but sometimes just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean it's going to execute that same way. So that's my thought on it. I think they should just do away with it, because people just don't know the words, and it's not enough people to understand the meaning of it. And that's why it's going to be awkward for everybody involved, who may be at the stadiums or just around it, period.
Yeah, I think this is the NFL's moment in time to do the hashtag ask more than one Black person. Because if you ask 5 Black people, 3 of them are probably gonna be like, nah, that ain't it. You know what I mean? So if you ask just that one who does know, I know all the words to it because I used to have to sing it all the time. But you're absolutely right. I have literally been around people who are older than me who I think should know the Black national anthem, because y'all generation wrote it. And I have been singing it, and I'm like, oh, that's such a lovely song. What are you singing? So you are absolutely right. I do not like this. NFL, do better. Hashtag ask more than one Black person. That needs to be y'all new hashtag. Do that. But we're going to wrap up with that. Nick, tell everybody one more time where they can find you.
Hey, thank you for having me once again. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA. You can also find me on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213 and then nightcastmedia.com.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on all things social media at JRay the Fanatic. Everybody, take a moment, put your hands in the air. Good vibes to Devin Howard. She got sick randomly yesterday. We were all super concerned about her. She'll hopefully be feeling better, and she'll be back with us on Monday. But just take your moment. Good vibes towards Devin. Feel better. You guys have a fantastic weekend. We will see you Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be safe. We'll see you next week.